Massachusetts. You are on the air with Representative Pocan.
Hi. So we'll make this quick. I grew up in Boise, Idaho, where the prevailing opinion was that teachers' unions were problematic because they provided ineffective teachers, or they protected ineffective teachers. And I've grown up in Boston the last 10 years, and now the focus has shifted to the issues with police unions, particularly in their role with protecting the officers who engage in misconduct. I feel like I'm a strong advocate for unions and the labor movement, so I'm grappling with a dilemma I'm hoping you both can help me out with. How can we advocate for reforming or even dismantling specific unions like those for police or potentially teachers? I feel like that's kind of a scam, honestly, while still supporting the broader concept of the unions.
Yeah, let me just toss in real quickly here. There was a great study done about 5 or 6 years ago pushing back on this Rush Limbaugh talking point about teachers' unions that found that teachers' unions around the country were more often the ones who were initiating the removal of teachers than were school boards. Bad teachers, removing bad teachers. So teachers' unions.
It's like that growing up, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a myth or a canard. But anyhow, Congressman?
Yeah, so Nick, I guess I would say there's unions and there's unions, right? For the most part, the established unions that you've heard of, including the teachers' unions, are, I think, do a great job for workers who need to have a voice in their workplace, whether it be around safety or pay or benefits. And honestly, they're also advocating on behalf of education and children. So I have looked at the national unions like the National Education Association, American Federation of Teachers as two of the best actually that are out there, not just for their members, although we should always be protecting our teachers, but also for education and children. Having said that, police unions don't meet with all the other unions and don't do the same things. And I think sometimes they have had a bad reputation in protecting police even when they do something wrong, as opposed to the operation of most unions, which are there to protect workers who've been wronged by often their bosses, whether it be a government, like for teachers unions, or a company. But I don't know if I would necessarily call a police union the same, because they're not part of the labor movement like I see it. And while they certainly have a right to have an organization that fights for their rights and their benefits and their safety, I think it can go too far if you then just want to keep a bad cop in place. I think the issue around police, Tom, I had a bill introduced, and I really wish it got more attention, because during everything that we've talked about policing, what I found is we have no single level of standards, even a minimum standards for what it means to be a police officer. So whether you're trained in Madison, Wisconsin, in my district, or Massachusetts, or California, or Texas, the standards, there is no standard. So what a police officer brings, we need, I think, some level, basic level of what that standard is to be trained as a police officer, so that a police officer knows their minimum expectations, but also as an individual, a citizen, you know what to expect when you have interaction with the police. And we don't have that. And I think that's something that should be talked about more in general around policing.
Yeah, amen. And I can tell you, I'm quite sure pretty much every other developed country in the world does have national standards for police.